Reddit by Reddit recap. Have you ever aborted or walked out on a date? How did you do it? This was 10 or so years ago. Cute girl I sorta worked with asked me out to dinner. Halfway through she says, "I brought you a gift," and pulls out a Book of Mormon. She came to convert. Not for a date. So I excuse myself for a moment. Walk up to the bar and tell the bartender what's going down. He buys me a shot and walks me through the back door. Met her through a mutual friend. We made plans to go on a date. We met at a restaurant and actually kind of hit it off for the first 15 minutes or so. Around that time a family sits at the booth across from our table. And she makes a disgusted face and makes a ugh sound. I didn't even notice the family at first and asked what's wrong. She kind of leaned in and said, "I'm not racist or anything. But those Mexicans are ducking," disgusting, motioning to the family that just sat down. I went, "Oh. I see." Waited in silence for about 5 minutes. Excused myself to the bathroom. Out the back door by pickup. Peace out. The family was indeed Hispanic. But not out of the ordinary in any way. Perfectly fine looking people. I was kind of in shock. But pretty much made up my mind to bail on her and make her look like a donghead the second she said that. I'm not racist or anything. But those Mexicans are ducking, disgusting. So she's an idiot too. If you have to preface something with "I'm not racist. But you are a ducking racist." Total online cliche story. I had talked to this girl online for a while back in the day. We decided to meet and I let her choose the place to make her more comfortable or whatever. Anyways, she picked some fast food restaurant. She ended up being like 50 pounds heavier than she said. Brought a friend and they were both obnoxious as hell. Like talking way too loud and making fun of people and laughing way too much. I just got up and left. Didn't say a word. Deleted her from friends list and never thought about it again till just now. Why would they lie about how much they weigh? Isn't it going to be obvious when you show up and they are far more spherical than their picture that they lied? Sometimes they have a cute face and show that only. These are commonly referred to as iceberg photos. What's on the surface is only the smallest part. Yes. And it was sort of sad. I was working at a restaurant at the time. And one of my co-workers had this friend who always came in to eat and chat at the bar. One day my co-worker tells me that his friend thinks I'm cute and wants to take me to some holiday party. At the time I was single. And slightly flattered. So I think, sure. What the hell? Co-worker's friend. Let's call him creepy dude. And I get to the holiday party for his work. He's introducing me to all of these people who keep saying things like, "So you're real. Haha, and nice to finally meet you." I'm semi-creeped out at this point. But brush it off. Bad idea. I later corner creepy dude and ask what in the world is going on. Turns out, creepy dude and I had this full-blown relationship going on for months, in his head. He had told his co-workers about us and even downloaded a pic from MySpace. Yeah. This was a while ago, of me that was framed on his desk. Apparently I always had an excuse not to come to a work function and his co-workers flat out told them that the holiday party was his last shot to produce his girlfriend. At this point I wasn't sure what to do, so disgusted, I headed over to another area of the party. For the next 10 minutes or so he kept trying to hold my hand, put his arm around me, slap my ass while I formulated a plan. It was a Friday or Saturday night and most of my friends were out somewhere. No way in Hades was I about to call my parents to come get me. I thought about getting a cab. But I wasn't anywhere near my place and funds were limited at the time. So I ended up calling one of my ex-boyfriends to come pick me up. The sad part was that creepy dude had nothing else in his life going on other than his job and our relationship. I thought about outing him to his co-workers before I left. But didn't have the guts. I just waited until he went to the bathroom and slipped outside to wait for my ride. My guess is that he concocted some sort of breakup story. But who knows? Privacy controls to the max after that one. Folks, to do today. Make sure my daughter knows that I will always pick her up from a creepy date. No questions asked. Make sure my son isn't creepy. Dude. There are creepy ass girls too. Go to cover all the bases. Just give them both the if you have to ask if it's creepy. It's creepy talk and be done with it. On a date with a girl at a not so bad restaurant. I got safe food, which is nothing that would get a huge amount of sauce on your face or clothing. Spaghetti. Caesar salad. She ended up getting wings, which is all cool. I don't mind if the girl looks messy. It can be cute. She ate the bones. They ate the ducking chicken bones. But not like a duck and swallow them whole, which could be sexual or something. She first ate the huge cartilage chunk off the ends and proceeded to eat it like a carrot. I have no idea how she had teeth left or how she would pass that in the morning. Anywho. Meal ended with awkward conversation because I couldn't get over the sound of her crunching bone and I got the duck out of there. I have more. But that one's the easiest to type. You're kidding about the bones. Right? Please. Well. I ate the bones one time by accident. Was way too stone drunk and didn't even notice I was doing it. At the end of the meal my buddy looked over and said, "Where are the bones?" After we figured it out we laughed like loons. The next day was fine though. I guess bones count as fiber. TL. Doctor ate a bunch of bones but didn't get laid. Went on a 4th date with a guy from uni. It was going pretty well, so naturally we ended up back at my apartment. Making out in our underwear. Things were progressing towards sex, but dude didn't want to put a condom on. He kept trying to slip it in without the condom despite my protestations, and kept making out and then sort of trying to subtly rub his penis up on my junk. So finally I got up, put on a bathrobe and said that I was going to the bathroom and that he shouldn't be in my apartment when I got back from the bathroom. He kept trying to slip it in without the condom despite my protestations, and kept making out and then sort of trying to subtly rub his penis up on my junk. Hate this. As if we ducking forgot you hadn't put a condom on yet. Are you horny enough to take my STDs yet? The guy said I should give him head because he paid for my hamburger. He actually said that. I just got up and left him sitting there. We never spoke again. What I wouldn't give to be able to projectile vomit at will during a situation like that. Here. You can have the stupid hamburger back. Blog. I would never disrespect a hamburger like that. Went out to lunch with a man whom I had a few interesting conversations with in the library of our university, but did not really know him well. The date was going nicely and we were waiting for our orders to arrive when his phone rang. He took the call and his entire demeanor changed. It was obvious that he was trying to hide from the person he was talking to where he was and at the same time make it seem normal to me. Red flags unfurled everywhere. When he ended the call I said, "Who was that? Your wife?" He turned red and mumbled "Yes. Is that a problem?" I became infuriated and stood up and said, in an increasingly loud voice, "Yes, that's a problem. When you get married you take yourself out of the dating pool. You don't get to do this." I grabbed my purse and stormed out. I have never made a public scene before, but I don't regret it. What are you wearing? Jake from State Farm? Khakis? Brought a girl home, we started fooling around and out of nowhere she just leaves. She texted me saying, "Yeah, I'm not gonna date an alcoholic. I forgot to take the trash out from my room and there were 3 cans of beer in there. We met at a ducking bar." I used to drink mouthwash because I was too poor for real booze. The funny thing is that nobody notices, because mouthwash is a pretty reasonable thing to have. The username took this comment from sad to hilarious. Good job. The other way around. I had a dinner date with girl. Kissed her in the street afterwards. We made out and fondled each other in the lobby of my building. In the lift. Against my door. Inside my flat. Until we reached my bedroom. She just stopped and without saying a word she ran away. I never saw or spoke to her again. I am not sure what happened. My flat was clean, but I have the feeling that she was expecting something more luxurious. I don't want to give more details because it'd sound a bit offensive, but it was in a place where expats like me are supposed to be loaded and some local girls just want a rich boyfriend. I guess I wasn't rich enough. It could have been the sex swing and the 3-foot dildo hanging out in the open. But he said they were clean. Went on a date with this girl one night. It was winter and was starting to snow pretty heavily. We went to a couple of different bars and were hitting it off pretty well. She wanted to stop at one more bar and then go back to her place. So we went in, sat at the bar and ordered a couple of drinks. She said, "You've been paying all night, I'll get these." Cool. So we were sitting there casually chatting with each other and the other people at the bar. As I'm talking to the guys on my right, they suddenly get these awkward looks on their faces, looking at me and then at my date. I look to my left and she's making out with some kid who doesn't even look old enough to be in the ducking bar. I look back at the guys on my left and said, "Well, at least she bought this round." I finished my drink, quietly got up and walked out. She called me about a half hour later as she was walking home in the snowstorm, alone, begging for forgiveness. Apparently everyone else at the bar saw what had done she was and told her to duck off, including the kid she was making out with. I told her to have a nice walk and hung up on her. Well, he left, so I better start walking home. Duck, it's cold. It's not too far though. Maybe I can make it before it gets too bad. If only those idiots at the bar hadn't been such a-holes, I'd still be warm. But now I'm covered in snow and shit and I'm not even halfway there. What kind of jackass ditches a girl and makes her walk home? Maybe he'll come pick me up if I say I'm sorry. Susan went on 2 dates with a guy. On the second he implied that I was a sure thing like all the other girls he had hooked up with that month. I said, "Yee. I'm gonna go. Please don't walk me out." I went to Sonic afterwards. Overall a pretty decent night. I was hooking up with a girl that I really liked. After making out on the couch for a couple hours she asked if we could move to my bed. We did. As we were beginning to fall asleep she all of a sudden bolted up and said she had to leave. She walked out on me at 4 AM and biked the 2 miles home. I had no idea what I did. Edit. We've been dating now for a year and she still won't tell me why she left. They're all wrong. She started her period. As a girl, this is the most reasonable answer. It was a first date. He wasn't feeling it either, so I was just like, "Hey man, you wanna just save the money, ditch dinner, and call it a night? It just doesn't seem to be happening for us." Then he went home crying and used his tears to masturbate. And now he is looking out of your window. Looking out of his window? That means he's inside the house. OMG desideraling. RUUUN. Best comment of the day. My worst date ever was from Tinder. This guy lived in the next town over, so I made plans to meet him at a bar in his town, about a 45-minute drive. He showed up an hour late, so I was sitting alone at a very crowded bar for a long time. Basically a sitting duck. I had ordered 1 drink, and a few minimums later the bartender told me that someone at the bar bought me a drink and asked me what I wanted, so I ordered another of the same drink. I sipped on both, but didn't finish either. I got a text from my date that he was finally there, but the bar was packed wall to wall. Fortunately I had been there so long that I had snagged actual seats at the bar for us and thought it would be easy for him to find me. I told him what I was wearing and that I was seated at the bar near the door. He refused to come look for me and kept telling me to come over to where he was. So after another 15 to 20 minutes of texting him, I had to give up the seats I saved for us to go look for him. He had brought like 6 friends with him, which was a little annoying because he ended up talking to them the whole time and barely spoke to me, turning his back and excluding me from their conversation. I felt really stupid, so I went to the bathroom. And that's the last thing I remember, besides flashes of one of his friends looking at me and laughing at how drunk I was. The next day I was sure that I was slipped something, since I had only had 2 drinks and didn't even finish either one. I went to the store and bought a test kit. Sure enough, I was roofied in that bar. I pieced together through my text messages that a really nice random girl at the bar had called me an Uber and paid for it. She had gotten my number and texted me, so I had hers. I thanked her profusely and Venmoed her the money for the Uber, which was like $50, since I lived in a whole other town. Then I texted my date to apologize for being so fucked up and told him I had been roofied. He texted me lol I wondered where you went. He didn't even ask if I was okay or if I got home safe. I then had to pay for another Uber back to my car. I was hoping to hang out with him again because we had such fun conversations before that night. But he never hit me back. Now I realize what a shitty guy he was. I was basically a zombie, standing in a bar struggling to stay awake, and he and his friends were laughing at me. It was so embarrassing. I do not think he is the one who roofied me, but he definitely wasn't very gentlemanly about it. So it's not a date I stormed out on. But I wish I had. If he wasn't into me, or thought I was unattractive that's fine, but I don't think that was the case. He was cool over texts, but in person what a fuckboy.